This channel supports Extra Life in its efforts to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. For more information about how to donate and join in their efforts, go to the link displayed here. Extra Life. Play games, heal kids.
What up, everybody? This is your boy Black Magus, and so didn't take long for all the hysteria and craziness and, of course, misinformation to be dropped about the PlayStation 4. Because in this wonderful age of technology where we are able to pull up information at the click of a button on our phones, tablets, computers, laptops, we have this wide array of conduits for information. But we choose not to. We choose instead to tunnel vision ourselves and, more importantly, listen to people who like to spit out a lot of bullshit. So, what am I talking about? Well, today I've seen some very interesting conversations going about the PlayStation 4 Pro, and it kind of like irks me that I feel like it's necessary for me to try to do a video like this, because I, for one, am not a proponent of the way that consoles should go, although I can debunk myself, and I will debunk myself in another video, because I like to try to keep fair, play devil's advocate, and be honest and open to all sides. But from my perspective, I think it's too soon. I think that it's unnecessary. It's not a purchase that I feel like I need to make, but I know there are people out there who get really excited over all these technical numbers and all these technical terms, the teraflops and, 1080p, 4K, 60 frames per second, so on and so forth. Having been a computer gaming junkie for a long time myself, I understand why people are into numbers, why some people are. But most people, I feel like they're just hearing things and being told by other people that this is what you should care about, and now that they're caring about it. Just like right now, we have a lot of people saying a lot of things about the PlayStation 4 Pro that some true, some false, some outlandish, some head scratching. It's all over the spectrum. Like this morning, I wake up and I look at my Facebook stream timeline, and someone I know is like, "This is gonna be cool, but without the 4K Blu-ray player, we won't get 4K gaming." I'm like, what? And so somebody was like, well, no, that's just for the movies. They probably figure you're just going to stream movies and you don't care. He was like, yeah, I know, but I feel like they're holding back the true potential of getting real 4K gaming because they don't have a 4K Blu-ray disc. Okay, so and this is the biggest piece of information that is being thrown out there that's 100% false. Because I counter with this with everybody. 4K gaming does not depend on the disk drive. Let's put that to bed. Good example of why it doesn't: Steam games. There are Steam games, digital content that is capable of playing in 4K. Games that do not require a disc are able to do that. So what's the deal? I thought that this 4K Blu-ray disc player is supposed to be the thing. No, people. 4K gaming, just like most of the graphical prowess that you see in games, be it on computer or consoles, is mostly generated by the CPU and especially by the GPU. You need to have the proper hardware in those two places to be able to get 4K, to be able to render any type of 4K, let alone native. Now, can the PlayStation 4 do native 4K? From everything that I've read, and this is part of the point of this video, is that I sat all day and I read a lot of different articles from a lot of different places. Not video game venues, because video game venues are just going to put out quick bits. I went to places like Engadget, CNET, listen to Digital Foundry. I'm going to put the link to that video. Digital Foundry did an excellent video. Listening to those guys is wonderful because they explain things in a really good way, especially if you're a tech junkie. But even if you're not a tech junkie, you could follow along with what they're saying. And everybody is pretty much in agreement. Yes, this is probably the first true native 4K console that has ever been made. Now, the biggest thing that you get from a lot of these sites is one of the arguments that I've made for a while now, and I've made with gaming as a whole. It's the same. It goes back to how I was saying we probably don't really need this generation, simply because, I mean, not that we don't need this generation, but after this generation, seriously, with this generation and generations on, it's going to be hard to find reason as to why we need new consoles, other than this idea of we can make games look prettier, we can stabilize them. I think now with these systems that are coming out with the PlayStation Pro, the PlayStation 4 Pro, and definitely with the Xbox Scorpio, whatever that's going to be called, we've gotten to a point where games are going to be stabilized on console, at least at 1080 and 60 frames. It's already been there for a while on PC, the capability to have those games run at that stability and that level of fidelity on a consistent basis. But these two machines will now put the 1080p 60 frames per second bullshit argument that people who honestly didn't give a fuck about at some point, console gamers, it puts that to rest. Now, here we go with the 4K thing, because like with 1080p 60 frames per second, like with everything that has come with technology in gaming in particular, people need to understand more than ever, this stuff is going to take time. It is not going to be as fast as you may want it to be. As we stand now, 4K gaming on PCs is not consistent. That's because developers have yet to master rendering in 4K. Hardware is able to do it, but the way that games are being developed now, it seems like hardware is being pushed. And no one's come up with a sound way of manipulating these powerful cards. The 900 series, the 1080s that NVIDIA has put out. They've had issues with certain games running in native 4K. A lot of times you've gotten games that say they're 4K, but they're not actually 4K. They just happen to be higher on the scale, closer to the 4K. It's going to be a couple of years probably before we get consistent native 4K gaming. These developers, especially on consoles, console development seems to go even slower, in my opinion, because of the fact that you have static hardware. Now, Microsoft's been hinting that they're not going to do static hardware anymore. They're going to possibly do upgradable. There were rumors that this PlayStation 4 Pro was going to be an upgradable console, but that's been proven to be false. Perhaps this means that Sony's next console is going to be that upgradable machine. Who knows? But there's all these hints and rumors leading towards console gaming going towards being PCs, basically, but still considering themselves gaming consoles. That may happen, but we'll see. The truth of the matter is, even with a computer that I can constantly keep upgrading, it's not 100% sound yet. And it's going to be a while. Just like a lot of people tend to forget that. And shout out to Colin Moriarty of Kind of Funny Games. because he kind of put it in perspective to me. One of the reasons why the last console lasted was more of an economy thing than them feeling the need to not upgrade, because the consoles didn't sell as fast as they probably could have due to the way that the economy was. So we jumped away from the general 5-year life cycle, which it was before on average, to that 10 years. So that is me not paying attention to the way things were. With that being said, throughout that whole generation, we forget that we were happy with HD gaming, just having HD gaming. We didn't think about 1080p, even though 1080p TVs were out during a significant portion of last generation. We were content with playing 720p, 30 frames per second games. There were a couple that were 60, but for the most part, most games were 720p. You got a handful of 1080p games last generation, straight up. But it took a while in that generation as well for developers to catch up with mastering 720p, along with the fact that we had to wait for our finances to get straight enough to buy an Xbox 360 or PS3 and then get that HD TV to take advantage of the technology. Now, things are a little bit better economically, but we still are in a state now where, hey, we got to get our finances straight to get a 4K TV. And 4K TVs are becoming much more affordable. So that's a good thing, but still for a lot of people, it's not. So a lot of people are waiting on them to drop so they can get their ultimate 4K, especially the 4K TV with HDR enabled in it. So what you're going to get now is you're going to get a system, the PlayStation 4 Pro, that will enhance stuff on a 1080p TV. It will make things look better, give a little, basically the same way a PC can take a monitor that's not necessarily a high level display and still make things look a little better on it. You know what I mean? So that's what it's going to be right there. So that's one thing that a lot of people aren't talking about. That's and it's information that I think everybody needs to know and understand and pay attention to and realize, because again, we have a lot of people going out there talking and giving all this like misinformation, not being honest with you, not taking time to actually look things up, and kind of give you a breakdown of the situation and how things are. Now, of course, all that said and done, let's go to specs and get more specific with the PS4 Pro. It's got and by the way, don't go to Sony's site right now because they have not updated their tech specs, which I find abysmal. If you click on their links for both PS4 and PS4 Pro, it's the same tech specs. So the PS4 for the PS4 Pro, which is misleading. They're going to get hit with that. So just know when you see that, it's Sony not having actually updated anything. But I found this on the site called VentureBeat that has the tech specs for the system. So here we go, and I'll try to leave the link in the description. The main processors is, of course, a custom chip single processor, the AMD Jaguar with 8 cores. Nothing's really changed there except for they've boosted the clock speed. They don't have the clock speed listed, so that's one thing right there. GPUs, I don't give a fuck about the 4.2 teraflops. If you are very highly invested in that stat, there you go. That's what the teraflops is. But it is clocked higher, and it's an AMD based graphics engine. From reading on Engadget and listening to Digital Foundry, you find that it is actually a graphics chip based on the Polaris architecture that AMD just dropped. Those new 400 series cards that you saw at E3 that they were talking about that were supposed to be pretty much comparable to the NVIDIA, 900 series, but much cheaper. That is what's supposed to be in the PlayStation 4 Pro. So there you go. That's why they're able to attain what they are able to do as far as 4K and enhancing VR, like they were saying. Of course, this needs to be said. It definitely needs to be said because, again, thank you to Digital Foundries. Polaris is said to not necessarily be able to handle 4K as well. Now, Microsoft's going to use the same type of architecture possibly, unless they know that AMD is coming out with a new card. You're pretty much going to get that from them as well. So the 4K development side of consoles may not stack up at all. Well, it's not going to. It generally isn't ever going to, because PCs adjust so quickly, and you got the 1080s now, where these cards are comparable to the 900 series. But basically, they have had struggles on PC with the Polaris. But this is the other thing. Digital Foundries also said that despite that, from what they saw in person, the Polaris card in the PlayStation 4 Pro doesn't seem to have issue, or doesn't seem to have any real issues. It's most of what his negative take from the whole thing was, didn't seem like most developers were necessarily ready. Same thing as with PC, because they talked about how Rise of Tomb Raider had its struggles on PC in 4K. So look at it how you want it, but that's what it is. You're gonna get the 8 gigs of GDDR5 memory. It's gonna have a 1 terabyte hard drive. It has an optical Blu-ray drive, DVD, that reads Blu-rays and DVDs. Again, no, it's not gonna read Ultra 4K, Ultra HD 4K disc. So if you were looking to get this as being your house's 4K Blu-ray player, not gonna happen. Still has the optical digital output drive. I've heard rumors that they were taking that out. They didn't. You have 3 USB ports now, 2 in the front, 1 in the back, which is great. Need it because you have to think you have one port that most people probably use for the cord. If you have a wireless headset, you kind of use one for that. Like I have the Turtle Beaches. I use one of my USB ports for that, for the wireless transmitter. And then in the back, you can plug something else in if you need be. Controller charger, whatever you need. But it's good that they have another USB 3.1 port on there. 3 of them now. Still have the aux port, so that's for the camera. That's still there. There's the Ethernet port. It's going to have an IEEE 802.11 ABGN AC Wi-Fi adapter. I know there's a lot of letters, bullshit, but basically the breakdown of that is Wi-Fi speeds will be faster. Now, I would love to get like a spec on that Ethernet port, because if the Ethernet port is actually better, like if it's a gigabit Ethernet port, I'm like ecstatic, because that will open up some bandwidth, and that will hopefully help PlayStation with some of the problems they have with their network as far as downloads. I don't have a lot of download issues, but I've had days where things took forever to download. And that Ethernet port might help. Of course, it's Blu-ray 4.0. And yada yada yada. Power consumption 310 watts. So that's the breakdown of it. So that is the information on the PlayStation 4 Pro. And I said I was going to do this video mostly to, 1, dispel some of the false information, but 2, also to give a more reflective, thoughtful, informed opinion. Because I was very, very grumpy in my last one. Because I'm old school gamer. I've been gaming since the age of 6. For those of you who don't know my age, me at 6 years old was 1981. Do the math, people. Do the fucking math. And realize that, yo, I've been gaming for a long time. A long fucking time. So, you know, I'm not comfortable with the whole idea of the iterative thing. But at the same time, it is what it is. Things change. And I don't have to participate. That's the one thing I love about me, is that I know that I'm not like unreasonably upset, because hey, I know how to work a PC. I have a PC that's good enough to game on. If I want to continue to play games and I don't want to do the iterative hard, where as far as consoles go, I play on my PC, and that's cool. But again, as I said before, I also know that my judgment is shaded, because consoles have come out at a quicker pace. It's just that last generation was an exception to the rule. So, 10 years, you kind of lose sight of that. So it is what it is. I just hope that as we continue with, if they continue with console gaming, as it continues, that these companies keep in mind that you don't have to go the cell phone route. You can do 3 years, 3 to 5 years. I should just go back to the old way of 5 years. Just make sure that you make comparable enough hardware. I don't believe the PlayStation 4 Pro is like Sony's next console. I do believe the Scorpio will be Microsoft's next generation console, because I feel like they're making a much more significant leap. I think they're doing a repeat of the Xbox One to 3. Sorry, the Xbox original. God, sometimes that gets confusing. But they're going from like the original Xbox to the 360, where they didn't catch up or compete as strongly with their competition. So they're scrapping things and they're coming back stronger, so they can compete better and hopefully outsell the competitors. And that's what I think they're doing. That's why I think I don't even compare Scorpio and PlayStation 4 Pro. I think the more comparable, accurate comparison would be the Xbox One S, because that has similar but not as significant enhancements. And even then, I wouldn't compare those two. Honestly, what Sony is doing is something very niche. They're doing an optional console generation, which is the first that we've ever seen. I think Microsoft might take that idea, though, because I think that while they've been talking all this 6 teraflops and all that with the Xbox Scorpio, I do think that the Xbox Scorpio is going to have a couple of different models, because I think what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to find a niche type of PC model to go with, by offering you like a lower tier, a mid tier, and a high end Xbox, for those who want to spend such money. That way they won't lose people with price tags. Because I think that the Xbox Scorpio, from what they've been speaking, is going to be over $500. I say 6. Some say disagree, which I can understand. I would hope that they are able to push it in at $400, but I still say 6. But we'll see. Again, time will tell. They still have a year. That's the beauty of Microsoft. Their whole situation is that they can wait and they can flesh it out to max it as much as they can. Sony just decided, hey, we want to kind of give those people who are continuing making this argument to us that we're not able to do consistent 1080p 60 frames per second, and that's what we need in order for gaming to be better. They're giving you that, and they're giving you the 4K, so that in the future you can say, you can't be like, well, when are you going to do 4K? Well, here, this is when 4K is finally like the standard, you can go out and you know that you got this, so you can leave us the fuck alone. I think that's the whole view right there. But yeah, it's a very interesting situation that we have going on right now. As usual, people are just going to pump out much misinformation as they can so that they can get those views. They can get people to watch their videos. They can sound like they know what they're talking about, but don't really. But they're getting people who are against this, who don't care for this, people who may not know and are looking for the right information but aren't getting it because these people don't want to give it to them. This is what this whole video is kind of about, to give an opinion that hopefully I've been able to skew both sides, like the side that, which is me, who's the guy against it, and then the guy who would be for it, and show you exactly what this is all about, so you can understand it more. Because I have to say, even with my misgivings for this type of stuff, it seems like it's going to be an interesting system, especially from what Digital Foundry said. They seem very, very high on it, and they are looking forward to seeing more from it, which is a good thing. Especially if you're that person who wants this. This is what you want to hear. But we got a couple of months. They're going to be showing it off. Hopefully Sony will be able to show it off in a better light. Maybe do the in-store demos like they did with the PlayStation 4. Because I really, truly believe that one of the harder things about 4K gaming in comparison to what we got with the beginning of this generation is that just about everybody has a 1080p TV or some type of display that can see 1080 visuals. So when they were able to do their presentation on that, we could all share in it. With the 4K experience, we did not get the proper representation, because unless you had a 4K display to watch this on, you did not get the full effect. So yeah, things actually look pretty. They look much prettier on my 1080p monitors and whatnot, but I know I did not see 4K because I can't see 4K because I don't have the capability to see 4K. So I would like to see Sony go out, step forward, and say, hey, in our stores or in Best Buy, or pick someplace, make up like local events like they've done before. So we're going to have a bunch of 4K HDR TVs, and we're going to put like displays on, have people come through, let you play, let you watch, and let you get an idea. I think their marketing team is going to have to drop the bread and do that, because not a lot of people are going to get the idea, even with the enhancements that it will have to 1080p displays, the ability to adjust like they said it had. You won't be able to necessarily know until you get it in your hands, or you get to see it someplace. And most people aren't just going to run out and just buy it blindly. Unless you're bought in on the idea, you're not going to pick it up just so you can see. You need to have confirmation, and Sony needs to get on the ball in that. But I figure this video is going to be really, really long. There will be a more shortened, condensed version where I just give basic specs and stuff like that. So if you watch that, if you watch to the end of this while I'm saying this, God bless you. I appreciate you for watching. Glad that you hung in with me as I went through this. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Check the links that I put in the description, please, because those are going to have really good information for you guys, so you can get an idea of what 4K gaming is going through, what the PlayStation 4 Pro is about, hands-on opinions, all that stuff. I want you guys to take that information. If anything, if you don't hear this and you just look in the links that I put, that's what I want. Get the right information, inform, or like very good opinion. Don't get a distorted opinion, please. That's all I want. Anyway, as always, you guys feel free to hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. This your boy Black Makers, and I'm out. Deuces.